AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lunid, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show, Jeff Sauer. He is the co-founder of Measure Holdings Group and the mind behind MeasureU. Now, this is a global digital marketing and analytic expert. He has trained over 50,000 students worldwide and spoken over 20 plus countries. And so he specializes in building data-driven business systems that turn operational chaos into clarity. Who doesn't need that? Like, this is the perfect conversation. We're going to talk about how to use data, how to use, especially in the world of AI, how do we use analytics to kind of make business decisions. So digital nomad and entrepreneur, and he empowers business owners to scale with confidence through strategic data informed decisions. So I'm really excited to have him on board. So without further ado, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course, my absolute pleasure. I love Hero's Journey story. Go ahead and tell us how you got started.
Yeah, so I started as a web developer, and then I realized that I wasn't a very good web developer, so I became a marketer. It was by luck. Basically, I created websites for people, and they said, nobody's going to this website. How do I get people to go to my website? Mm-hmm. And so I started studying that. I learned about things like SEO, paid media, basically everything around marketing in order to help that one client. And then I learned that I liked that more than I liked doing the website stuff. And not only that, but I liked the measurement, because once I was getting people to go to their website, they said, well, how many people went to my website and what was happening? And so I started looking into things like web analytics. This is right before Google Analytics was debuted to the world. I learned about that one, and it turned out that I liked that even more. And so I became a measurement person because there was nobody out there talking about it, nobody teaching it. And it turned out that just by having learned it on my own, I was qualified to do this for clients and to become a professor to do that too.
By happenstance, and then you falling in love with it is always key to kind of keep you going, because then you're just learning becomes a lot faster. Learning curves are shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
In that space. So Google Analytics, you mentioned that, and everybody wants it on their website, speaks about it. Is there an alternative out there to Google Analytics?
There are alternatives. There are free ones like Piwik Pro, Matomo that are out there, and some of them are really good. The reason why most people want to stick with Google Analytics is because it integrates so tightly with other Google products. Mm-hmm. So if you want to know how you're doing in search, then their integration with Google Search Console really helps you out. If you want to know how your ads are performing, the integration with Google Ads. And so if you're doing anything else, if your marketing revolves around Google, then you're going to want to have some kind of presence in Google Analytics. And because it's free, most people will stick with that. A lot of times people don't like it because they think that it's complicated. It can be, but ultimately it's only as complicated as your lack of a strategy. And so if you don't have a strategy for your business, then it's going to sound complicated because you're trying to get a tool to do your strategy versus doing what you probably should be doing yourself and the things you should be doing. So yeah, it sounds complicated, but that's really because of a lack of direction. And that's pretty much true anywhere.
Yeah, that is true. And that's the direction that you provide at MeasureU. That's the strategy that you provide. So tell us about that.
Yeah, exactly. So we help people who are doing marketing, which is every business in the world, is digital marketing specifically. We help them make sense of the numbers, decide what they want to track, and then make it so that they can create a beautiful dashboard that shows them in a single screen pretty much how their entire marketing campaign is performing. We do it using a framework called the Measurement Marketing Framework. This is actually different than what most people do. Is they do marketing first and then they do measurement. So they call it marketing measurement. We say measurement marketing. You need to figure out what result you want to measure, and then you market to get to that result. And the difference is that you're not creating a bunch of campaigns and hoping that they work. You're doing research, you're being strategic with what you're looking at, and then you put your limited resources, which we all have limited resources, towards the things that are going to give you the best chance at achieving that result. And that's what measurement marketing is.
Okay, I'm not going to blow that over because we all need to break that down. Let's unpack that. And that's where you come in, and I'm sure you provide the skill set to be able to do the measurement marketing first, because then you're saying there's research that goes into it. What are we looking for? What are we looking to, where do we go about the research? Because we think we have to run ads to get some data, to know how to get our target audience or avatar or what keywords to put in, right? So you're saying the reverse. So let's talk about how one can do that research before.
Yeah. So we actually have a free framework called the Measurement Marketing Framework. You can get it at our website, MeasureU.com. And just so you know, that's like the framework is available to anybody that wants that. And it's a 9-part framework. I'm not going to go through all 9 parts, of course. But the idea is that you plan, build, and launch your campaigns. So you start with a plan, you then build it out, what you want to measure and what you want to do, and then you launch your campaigns. And so there is some work that needs to happen before you go live. Even though you are still in an experimental phase, you want to make sure you have a minimum amount of tracking in place before you go live with a campaign. Otherwise, you won't know if it was successful or not. And so it's a 3-phase thing. And honestly, I'll just even talk about the planning phase. There's 3 parts of planning. One is the questions that you're trying to ask of your marketing. Like, what is the whole point of this marketing, right? Then what information would you need in order to know whether or not that was working? And then finally, what actions would you take if you had the answer to that? So if you think about it that way, it's actually pretty nice. Like, what questions am I trying to ask? What is the whole point of this? Why am I even doing any marketing? And we can all answer that relatively straightforward. Like, hey, how many leads did I get? How is this working? Like, those are the questions you're looking for. But a lot of times people are like, oh, I should go on Facebook and run some ads, or I should be doing this, or I should be on TikTok. That's not really a question. That's a tactic. That is just like saying, hey, I'm just going to guess. As to saying, question is, how do I get leads in 2025 the most effective way possible? And then how do I do that the best way, right? That if that's the question you're trying to ask your marketing, then you might do something differently. You're actually, whatever the answer is there, whatever information you can gather, it's going to inform what you do moving forward. So it's basically starting with what is the result as opposed to what is the tactic or what is the platform I'm going after.
Starting with the end in mind. That is unique. Yeah, that is unique. And it sounds like it would be a lot more effective and efficient, because running ads and going into these big platforms can be a bottomless pit. You're just throwing money out there, trying to get sponsored, and you're not getting clicks, and you're just putting money away. And they're not converting. Yeah. And we want to talk about that, right? The need for the conversion, the need to like nurture and kind of get customers, but also nurture those customers, those needs as well. Let's dive into that.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. So it's funny, like converting is a really good phrase to look at. Like, do they convert to the action you want them to do? And a lot of times people's way of saying, well, it didn't work, then they say, oh, we should test something else. And I don't really, A/B testing, I think, is not really the way to know if your marketing is working or not. And because it's basically saying, if this doesn't work, then I should try that thing. So it's basically
trial and error.
Yeah, it's trial and error. It's just it's a scientific way of doing trial and error, which is still, all the math in the world won't prevent you from wasting money on that. As opposed to what we do is we boil it down to, there's really 5 points on your marketing, or on like a landing page or a sales page, or what, on a mobile app, whatever it is, your offer page, where they're going to drop off. They're either not going to even engage at all. Like, they're just going to leave within 5 seconds. They're going to go down, they're going to scroll down a little bit on there. They're going to see your offer. They're going to go to the cart. So we call it the I's on the journey. So it's like they all start with the letter I, and we're basically saying, why don't you figure out where they dropped off in the process? And then whichever one isn't achieving the rate that we expect, that's where you need to focus. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to just try A versus B, we're saying, actually, it's just this little part right here where things are dropping off. If you just fix that, you might fix your entire marketing. And it's so cool because you're not wasting as many resources on the things that don't matter. You're just like, I mean, and we really just use two tools to make this happen, essentially. You use Google Analytics to do the quantitative, and then you use something called Microsoft Clarity in order to do heat maps and to do scroll tracking and stuff like that. Microsoft Clarity is also a free tool. You could even call that an alternative to Google Analytics. I look at it as a complement, but it could be considered an alternative. Clarity is just amazing because it's free and it tells you where people drop off. It's like heat maps. You used to have to pay thousands of dollars for those tools, and Microsoft just gave it to you.
Yeah, there's one called, is it Hotjar?
Hotjar, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that one, you see the free trial, but then they do charge you an arm and a leg to keep it. But it really does speak volume because then you're able to hone in and zone into exactly where it goes from hot to what, blue? No action, no reaction whatsoever. And
so, the heat maps, the session recordings, all that stuff. Now Hotjar is a great tool, but if you're just looking to get started, Microsoft Clarity is the way that I would go now. And they have a lot of AI features. They're plugged into OpenAI and stuff like that. So they actually have AI built into it as well.
Yeah. And then you say it's a complement. I wouldn't think Microsoft and Google would link in that way seamlessly, but it sounds like they compatible.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you can have both of them on your site without really slowing it down all that much. And so if you have two sources of truth, it allows you to get a second opinion. That's how I'd look at it. Mm-hmm.
Well said. I want to dive into SEO and blogs, the importance of that, because you said you used to develop the website, but now kind of do the important part because people have websites and they just sit there. Yeah. It has to be a conduit, a channel of some sort, right? And the work you do makes it that channel. Let's talk about the power of SEO and blogs and how that helps an individual rank or become the first one when they're searching for certain keywords to be found.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, like my relationship with SEO and blogging has changed over the last year more than it did the previous 20 years.
Got it.
And so I've always been blogging. I had this blog called Jeffalytics before, and I was an authority. I became an authority about analytics and stuff like that because I would blog. And basically everything that I was solving for my clients, everything that I was looking into, I would just write about it. Mm-hmm. And that was my way of establishing authority. And it worked out great. And before that, even I was doing it for my company. And so blogging it put me on the map. It was a big thing for me, and it got search traffic. Like it was a lot of search traffic. Like we had to get 100,000 people a month going to our website just from search engines saying that we were the best answer to the questions people had. In the last year, the search engines aren't really rewarding blogs like they used to. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but like they're rewarding Reddit posts. They're rewarding all these other things that basically what they train their AI models on. And they sort of basically cut a lot of blogs like what I have and other blogs. Some are seeing traffic down 90% or more. And so mine isn't that bad, but it's not the same situation as it was. Like 2 years ago, I was riding high on blog traffic. Now it's like, it's a slow trickle. And so I'm not sure that I would recommend somebody getting started as a way to blog for traffic necessarily. However, what I think blogging does, and this could be micro blogging on LinkedIn, this could be, sending a newsletter out there, publishing your thoughts is a great way to establish authority. It's a great way to establish credibility. It's a great way to establish confidence. It's a great way to do so much for yourself that the idea, whether you do it as a blog or you do it and you're doing it for SEO, or if you're doing it on social media in order to get engagement, the idea here is that especially if you're a service provider or you're trying to get credibility, you only exist in your public persona, right? And the only way to do that is to put yourself out there. So the way that we put ourselves out there has changed. Like I'm doing more things that I never imagined I'd do, like short form videos and more video type stuff, things that I had avoided for a long time. But it's like, that's the only place you can get noticed now because Google's not giving you that boost that they used to have. And so I've had to adjust accordingly. And so, I hate to say like, it's not that I don't like SEO. I appreciate the value of it. It's just that it's so much in flux right now that I can't, like as a professional, recommend that somebody go all in on that. What I would say is try to figure out where your audience is. Mm-hmm. Are they searching for stuff? Are they on short form video platforms? Where are they? And then give them what they need. That would be my strategy. And that is changing significantly if you look at all the demographics and where people are being noticed.
And yeah, you have to do your due diligence, and that advice coming from you as the expert, we hold a lot of weight. And so thank you for sharing that and being candid about that, because the old way of thinking is to do SEOs to drive traffic to your site to get ranked. But honestly, I'm in agreement with you. That is changing because the attention span of our clients and customers are changing. Yeah. And so the short video, the form is working faster because you just need, can you say it in 10 to 30 seconds? Because if you lose them, then that's a gunner. And so having to be able to pivot.
Yeah. And then not only that, but you don't own SEO, but you can own other things. Like you can own an email list, you can own your audience out there. So just understanding that what investments you make, what's going to be the return on that investment. And if it still makes sense to do it, do it.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the common mistakes you see marketers make besides blogging when it comes to measurement and data-driven decisions and analytics?
Yeah. I think a lot of times it's just complexity. It's trying to do too much, thinking that if I log into Google Analytics and they have 20 numbers on the screen, that those numbers are important, or that I need to bend my will in order to see what's in these platforms. Generally speaking, those are what Google thinks is important, but they think that's important for a 10-person blog, or 10 people a month go to it, to a multi-million-dollar e-commerce store. They have the same Google Analytics. And so there's no universal what's useful. And so thinking that if it's if it's a report that Google gives you that it's important, I think is a mistake. The other thing is trying to track everything, big data is ultimately, it just means that there's a lot of noise as opposed to focusing on the things that matter to you. So again, going back to that thing, like what questions do you want to answer from your marketing? What are you trying to achieve? And trying to just to focus that in on a few things will get you further along than trying to do everything.
And that will alleviate a lot of the overwhelmment that comes in.
Yeah,
the shock
absolutely.
Of all that data.
Yep. Exactly. I'm giving you permission to not have to do everything. I don't want you to do everything. About 20% is all you're going to need to get 80% of the results. And that's good enough for most of us, especially compared to doing nothing.
Right. Well said. Now, we're going to talk about your morning routine, but I know you are your parent, you're traveling, you're a business owner. How do you balance it all?
Yeah. I mean, it's, I was a little bit nervous about talking about my morning routine before coming on, because I was like, it's not always consistent, but I've learned a lot and I've made adjustments. And so I can tell you about my routine, but you're right. Being a parent, traveling all the time. I last year, I went to 25 countries, 16 countries. And my son was with me at 15 of them. My wife went to 16 countries last year too. And so that's crazy, right? Like how do you have a routine with that many countries? And the answer is that I didn't. And I gained a little bit of weight. I was pretty stressed out and I vowed not to do it again. So this year I'm starting off fresh and really getting better at this, because I mean, it could be a cliche, but how you start your mornings definitely indicates how your day is going to go. And so I've tried to make sure that I do it right. And so there's principles I can't ignore. And then there's things that are nice to have. And I sort of try to balance that, right? So principles I can't ignore now, I try to do. Nutrition is one that I'm really trying hard on. And that is like, I basically at home, I make the same breakfast, and it's like a high protein smoothie with berries and like some, sometimes juice in there, sometimes like little local raw honey, so I don't get allergies. And like, I just make that thing. And that's like my fuel, and it keeps me full till lunch, and it works out great. Another one is working out. So I have a trainer that I've been working with for a few years, and I've been doing morning workouts for 3 or 4 years, and it's like a part of my identity now. Like I can't ignore it. And so even on vacation, I for a while, I wasn't taking my workout clothes with me on vacation, and you could tell. And now it's like, hey, I know the hotel gyms at almost every hotel. I'm there working on it. And when I'm at the hotel, I know how to do buffet now in a way that's healthier for me. That type of stuff. I try to go to sleep before 10 o'clock every day, because you never know you're going to wake up. I don't have a consistent wake up time, because it's sort of whenever my son gets up and comes into our room and wakes us up. It's sort of what I've been doing. So I steal as much sleep as I can, knowing that I have the human alarm clock coming in, And then I wish that I had more time to do deep work and stuff like that. But my mornings, like a lot of people say, my most productive time is in the morning. Like I'm at 5 a.m. working until 8 a.m. before everybody gets up. But like that's my time with my son and my wife, so like we're hanging out, we're playing on his iPad, we're playing games together, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm just like chilling out, I'm drinking my coffee. Like that's my special time. And I'm never gonna, like, once he turns 10 and doesn't want to do that, I won't ever get that again. So I'm just riding that wave. Like that's my special time. Yeah. Am I missing 3 hours of like deep dive YouTube videos and stuff like that? Yeah. Do I feel bad about it? Sometimes, but do I feel guilty about it? No. Like, I'm making the right choice. Yeah. And so I think that to me, like my morning routine is all about making the right choices for where I'm at. And I don't hear that very often. And it does sometimes lead to guilt, because it's like, well, why am I being comfortable just winning the day? But I think that more people should hear that, because especially if you have children, that should be what you should be focused on, is like winning the day, or winning the morning with the time you have with your family, then separate and then going to work when you need to, but having that separation.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is non-negotiables for your morning routine, but also for your time
exactly.
with the family. Then that's pivotal. That's crucial to have in place, because it also helps you show up better for your clients to work, because you have that in place. I really love that you said the habits that you put in place, you now embody it so much that you're looking at the hotel gyms, you're making better eating habits because you've become it, right? That's the beauty of habits. Once you start doing them, then you first make them and then they make you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, so I'm really glad you're sharing. And the seasonal piece, it is seasonal. We have a 2-year-old here at home as well. And so I understand completely the human alarm goes off. And so it really is imperative to know what season of life you are in to then accommodate. Guilt-free. You said it. You want everyone to know. Don't feel any guilty about it. Just know where you are and then roll with it. And then that's
exactly.
It's really nice.
But don't compare yourself to other people. And, they say comparison is a thief of joy, but then just in general, don't get mad at somebody because they have their thing. I just do you. Like so many people get mad about other people and then they say like, I could never do that, or they're lucky or whatever. And it's like, just do what you got to do. Just try to get better and try not to make the same mistakes over again. And you're pretty much winning in life.
What does that do to the psyche? Because as I hear you saying it, you're telling people you're on your own beautiful journey. Embrace that, accept that. What does that do to the psyche so that it transcends in other areas of life, right? In the business, as an entrepreneur, we got to have that mindset.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just it gives you confidence. It gives you permission to be yourself. It's an edge. It is what makes you uniquely you. You'll never be somebody else, and you'll never do as well as somebody else as they are. So why even try? Pick your lane. And, it might sound challenging. It might, you might not have like a ton of vision around what you want to do, but ultimately you're the best in the world at you. So why don't you ride that wave and do that? It's a combination of natural talents and then developed talents too. Like I'm not a big fan of people saying like only do exactly what you're talented at, because there's a lot of things that I do now that I wasn't talented at. I was afraid of speaking in public, and now I've spoken in 20 countries. Like I'm afraid of a lot of things, and I have addressed my fears, and that's become my identity too. So I think that there's some value in doing things that you're natural at, or not trying to do something that you could never do, but also like completely giving up on it and saying, hey, I'm only good at this thing right now. That like when you stop growing, and when you stop growing, you're dying.
I'm laughing because I was thinking those exact thoughts and you like took them right out of my brain. And it's absolutely true, is you really have to keep evolving. And there's a quote I think I heard, I think TG Jake said it. Don't put a period where God wants to put a comma.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do so many things. You can learn so many things. And so why get boxed in? To just one item and then become miserable and resentful for not trying other things. And that's where that comparison comes in, right? Comparing yourself to other people creeps in your psyche, and it becomes a whole like negative thought that you can't get rid of.
For sure.
Yeah. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing. Tell us where we can connect with you. How do we find you?
Yeah, so we have MeasureU.com, which we've talked about. There's a free community there. You can sign up and get access to like 50 plus resources, templates, things about measurement, our measurement marketing framework. It's all there. And then we have another brand called Profit School, which I'm really excited about getting out into the world because it's all about AI first business. And the idea behind Profit School is we help companies, small businesses really, that want to make their business the transition to consulting AI first before they do anything else. And so instead of having to build a big team or be a manager that you're not very good at, how do you use AI as the way to make that happen? And so I've been down the rabbit hole of AI. I love it. I use it for everything. It's my co-pilot in business. It's a business partner that's there when my business partner isn't. It's 24/7 there for me. And so I have a newsletter that goes out every Saturday that's talking about AI first business and just my thoughts, musings, news, all kinds of stuff. And so if you go to profitschool.com, you can subscribe there as well to that weekly newsletter.
Fantastic. And I'm with you with the thing with AI. It's not just for business partner, but also life situation questions. There's a lot that comes out of it that you can find that guidance immediately to process some things. And so thank you for sharing that and being candor around that. Jeff, it's been such a pleasure having you on your show today. Thank you so much for coming and joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.